Here are some of the supplies that I use. Well, you can see lots of bobbins. I'm constantly stopping and winding my bobbins. I love to use, these little curved tip snips. These are the things that I clip my thread with. Over here, favorite titanium coated needles by Superior Thread. Here I'm using a top stitch, size 80-12. You know about my beautiful silky rayon thread and a 30 weight, which is a thicker thread. A couple other things that I like to use. I like to use these magic bobbin washers by Little Genie. They go in your bobbin case. And another thing that I love is I sometimes put Sewer's Aid on my thread before I get started, just to give it a little lubrication so it'll go through the sewing machine really smooth. And instead of using quilting gloves, I've been using this Lickety Grip, which is kind of a tacky little substance that you put on your hand, and it really doesn't leave a residue, and it really does help you move your quilt without straining. So I think we've got everything here, and let's get started making this pansy.
On the ground to try and secure him, Aaron. Thank you, Shasta, and now our story out front. It's North Zimmerman redeemed himself. Since he was acquitted of murder, he had laid low, except for last Wednesday, when he helped rescue a family from an overturned car. Now that turned into a big issue. The family was released this afternoon. That press conference was happened to be after the office of his attorney. Then they canceled that public appearance. Just last hour, Zimmerman's attorney, Mark O'Meara,
I'm going to show you now how to do a leaf. I love doing leaves. Everybody has their own personality when doing leaves. And I'm going to remove this pen also before I get started. So I'm going to start right here at the top of the leaf. You can see. And I'm going to go down to the bottom. My first move would be, I'm going to go down, but as you can see, I'm curving that center vein. And now I'm going to stop with my needle in the down position. Flip my threads, and now I'm going to do some vein work. I'm going up the side, into the middle, and out. Along the side, into the middle, and out. Curving each line that I'm making with the thread. Now I've got back up to the top. I'm going to go back down the middle again. Now I'm going to go up the other side. Now when it happens like this, when your presser foot wants to slide underneath your fabric, you want to stop immediately. Lift up your presser foot. Okay, I'm going to keep the needle there. And I'm going over. I'm getting my iron. And if you can see, I'm pressing it back down so I can stitch on it. You cannot stitch on these without them being pressed down. Now, there we go again. Right over it. You can never iron too much with this fusible web. Steam a seam too. Okay, there you go. I've done a leaf. Now I'm going to do a variegated thread because variegated greens really make your leaves pop. And so I'm going to go down, bring up the bobbin. I always bring the threads to the top. Probably have noticed that. Okay, and now I'm going to do this leaf again, but now I'm doing it from another direction. It doesn't matter which direction you go, whatever is comfortable for you. Okay, so I'm going to go down the center in this leaf. And now I'm going to go up one of the sides. I'm going to go up into the center, curving. See how cool it is when it changes color? I'm going to get these tails out of my way. Go down the center again, right next to my previous stitches, and then I'm going to go back up along the side into the center. And if you'll notice, I'm sewing on the background. I like to color outside the lines. I think it adds something. Now over here where I have that little stitch, I may come down and smooth that area out. See how I did that? Just to give it a little more volume. Now I'm going to show you how I do a curlicue. I love to add this. It adds dimension and kind of like a little ribbon. So I'm going to go out into the background area and I'm going to do a circle. I'm going to do another circle. Now I'm going to circle the other way. Feels uncomfortable. And then back the way I started. And I'm going to stop. I'm not closing that circle off. Now I'm going to drive back over my stitches, but not following them exactly. I'm about a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch away. Okay? It gives kind of a ribbon effect. And then you can kind of cross over, loop to loop, cross over, cross over, and back to the center. Do you see how that gives such a nice curly effect, like a tendril? It's great for making ribbons too. Watch how I cut my threads here. I lifted up my presser foot, raising my needle all the way to the highest position. And I'm going to bring my quilt towards me, and I'm going to take that top thread and I'm going to lift it up. Did you just see that little bobbin pop up? The bobbin loop, it's right in there. Let's see if you can see it again, right there. See that? Then I press my little curved tip snips down and I clip, and I've just cut the bobbin thread and the top thread with one snip. I know, it's amazing. Right here I just went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers of fusible fabric. You are hearing a popping sound, but that is normal, so don't worry about that. I've added a lighter lavender, and I want to just kind of color on in here. Before I really get started though, I am going to clip those tails out of my way. There we go. I'm always stopping and adjusting my hands and adjusting the quilt. There we go again. Pull, lift, and snap. There we go. When my thread gets down to about less than half, a fourth of the thread still on the spool, that's when it's more vulnerable to getting to ripping and tangling. If you can see what I'm doing, I'm putting some little dots of sewer's aid, okay, on the thread. Then what I do is I smush it in with my fingers like this. Just causes the 2-ply thread to go through the machine without catching on anything. Now I'm going to work on the letters, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a stitch in the ditch like I did around the flowers, but around the letters. This stabilizes everything before you get started really coloring in. Okay, and get rid of these threads here. Okay, Feed dogs are down. This is free motion again. I've got the needle running just up against the edge of the letter. Now, if it goes on the letter, I don't sweat it because I'm going to cover that up with something later. A fancy one of my stitches on my Bernina machine. Okay? I'm doing the P. I'm traveling. Did you see how I'm doing that? Now I'm going up to the hole. And I'm going to go around that too. Boom. I'm doing a tiny buttonhole stitch with the 30 weight thread, and it gives a look of hand stitching because the thread is thicker. And I'm trying to do it around all the letters. When you're going around a curve, you constantly have to adjust your quilt. In fact, I'm doing a little cheat move here. Going on the edge. When it's in the background areas when I turn. See, when the needle's in the background, I can give it a little twist. I'm readjusting the needle there. Constantly turning the quilt. Yes, it is sometimes a pain, and you don't want to do this on really big quilts. But on little quilts like this, it's perfect. One more stitch right there. And we're done. And there we have so far. Every time I get done stitching something, I will give it a good press. Okay, this way, any of the rolling underneath the arm of my sewing machine that might have loosened some of the pieces of fabric, it will adhere them back down. I also like that it kind of softens the fusible. So don't be afraid to iron over and over.